Okay, I believe we're at our final presentation tonight. Please give a warm welcome to the
Okay, well, I'm Hannah, this is Joe, this is Alden, that's Caroline, and that's Callie, and we are talking about behavioral medication, drugs, and Alright, so behavioral medication is a relatively new medicine that is dedicated to treating behavioral disorders within people that usually have to do with brain malfunctions. So this research is relatively new. It got its very own start in the 1930s, but was originally published in literature and scientific writings in the 1970s. So there is not a huge amount of long-term research done on this topic. And while it has helped many people cope with their behavioral disorders, it has also had negative effects on people taking the pharmaceutical drugs that treat behavioral disorders because they have side effects that are under-researched and potentially harmful to whoever is taking the drug. Also, in recent years, there's been a greater diagnosis of behavioral disorders and more medication to follow, which is bad because some people are being misdiagnosed with behavioral disorders when they don't actually have these disorders. And in order to counter this, we'd like to encourage doctors and pediatricians around the world to use more natural substances and therapies in treating these disorders in order to lessen the negative side effects.
As stated before, that this is a fairly young field of study, so there hasn't been too many experiments conducted on the effects of behavioral modification in not only minors but adults. So, as current actions placed in by governments, there has been an ample amount of procedures set up that have been yet to be completed. Some of the precautions that precautions that people have against behavior modifying drugs is that they have really categorized into short-term and long-term. Short-term, you can have your body naturally produces a hormone called dopamine. Sorry. This is your feel-good feeling that you get. With drugs such as Adderall, this amount can be increased, and everybody likes to feel good, which can lead to a chemical addiction, which can go to long-term problems of full-on drug addiction. There's been cases with Adderall of sudden death syndrome, as well as heart and liver problems.
So as Joe just discussed, there are a lot of problems that are related to behavior modification drugs. So we really had to evaluate all of the different ones, and we decided that the most important and the most harmful was that ADHD is a really common behavioral abnormality that's really overdiagnosed. 11% of children ages 4 to 17 are diagnosed with ADHD, and that's not just out of kids diagnosed, it's out of all of the children in the U.S. In 2010, the U.S. prescribed over 1 billion more units than all of the rest of the world. And this is because diagnostic guidelines are way too lax. So the FDA says, is your child in conservation? Does he or she talk incessantly or have trouble focusing and prefer to daydream? Then your child may have ADHD. If you think about this, this is like half of the 4-year-olds we know. Or it's a kid who's just really enthusiastic or happy or overstimulated or understimulated in a traditional classroom setting. Most people want to blame this on something, but it's just this is really bad because a lot of these drugs interfere with children's daily life. So when children as young as 3 and 4 are dealing with drugs as strong as these, it's really terrible. they'll be, if you're ever watching TV and you're watching this commercial and it's about some drug, and it can be for any drug, and they'll say side effects include, and it goes on for like 5 minutes. And children that are in kindergarten and need to be learning really vital things don't need to be dealing with side effects that are as extreme as limb or orofacial dyskinesia, which is basically like Tourette's, but it's caused by a drug. And they can't control the movement of their face or their limbs, and they shake uncontrollably. And they can have seizures, and they can fall asleep randomly, and they have headaches, and they become really mad all of a sudden, or they can't pay attention, and it's really terrible, and little kids don't need to be dealing with that.
So our goal is within 2 years to see a 10% decrease in the overall use of traditional behavior modifying drugs. So we are asking for $250,000 of grant money to fund the promotion, the advertisement, and to spread the information of using natural substitutes such as fish oil, zinc, and turmeric. With this $250,000, we created a multi-step plan to inform the doctors and the public about these natural substitutes. I personally actually take all 3 of these substitutes every day for my ADD, and because my mom, when I first started in school, she was worried about me using the harmful side effects and such, so I've just been using the natural substitutes. And it really does have the same positive effects as behavior modifying drugs without all the negative side effects. I definitely see a difference from when I didn't use it and when I do now. So our first step is to survey and educate the doctors. So first, to send out a survey to see what they already know about natural substitutes, what they're doing with behavior modifying drugs, to really find out what needs to be done. After the surveys are all completed and we sift through them and figure out what people know, we will then go through the surveys and we will start part-time research. So we chose to do part-time research because full-time is a lot of costs, a lot of money. And we only want to research the traditional behavior modifying drugs to eventually hope to make them safer and more effective. But in the meantime, we're going to try to spread the word to tell people about a natural substitute that is just as effective. So once we sift the surveys, we'll hire 5 main doctors who have current knowledge to be our advocates, so to say, about natural medications. These 5 doctors will be trained by us with 1 informational meeting. So they know, we can train them, so they know exactly what they're supposed to say, what they're supposed to get across, so that almost every doctor in the U.S., after they go on 4 travels, one of which will be in medical school, to major cities across the U.S. to inform other doctors about natural alternatives. Once other doctors are informed, they can go back to their practices and they can just, people that already prescribed behavior modifying drugs, they can say, hey, how about you try this? Or they can, the new patients coming in, this will help with the overdiagnosis problem. Say, how about you try these natural medications that'll work just as well. So this money will be spent to fully inform the public to make the medicine world much safer.
$10,000 will be sent in surveys so the doctors around the U.S. see that they are able to find natural alternatives. And once we get the results of the survey back, we plan to hire a part-time researcher in order to research the benefits and side effects of natural alternatives. Then we will take 5 doctors who already use natural alternatives for trips around the U.S. in order to promote their practices. Eventually, one of us will be captured for research. And the effectiveness of this is to see whether that will actually substitute natural alternatives rather than use drugs that may be harmful to developing children.
Our goal as a group is to make behavioral modified drugs and treatment of behavioral disorders as safe for everyone who needs it as possible. In order to do this, we would like to encourage the use of natural substitutes instead of harmful prescription drugs and therapies in order to treat behavioral disorders. We thank you for listening to our proposal, and are there any questions?
So, I think you're going to educate people about like the
Well, it's mainly focused for the doctors, so 5 doctors will be hired to do seminars for other doctors. So it starts in the doctors, and the doctors then do their own kind of advocating to inform the public. So it starts in the medical field mainly.
Will you be addressing, like the diagnosis of like people with like ADHD? Because I know that I've heard that, a lot of, like ADHD diagnoses like are like unneeded because they are like the symptoms are demonstrated in many children. Are you going to be addressing that as well? A lot of them are really like prematurely diagnosed. So if a lot of times if it's a first-time parent, they're kind of freaked out just by how energetic and crazy their kid is, and it might just be like a little boy who just has extra energy, and they don't always have ADHD. So the doctors can advise them maybe to try the alternative medication at first, because that won't be as harmful, because if the modifying drugs aren't actually fixing what's there, then the side effects are going to be heightened so much more, and they'll be a lot more harmful than just normally. So if they're on zinc or turmeric, it won't have any side effect on them, and if they see a decrease, great. If not, then maybe they're on ADHD.
So do you, and I'm thinking because of the last group with antibiotic resistance and talking about antagonists and things like that, and Joe, you've gotten into hormone production and all sorts of stuff. So I don't know if you guys saw this in your research, because I don't know the answer of what ADHD medication normally does to brain chemistry, and then because the alternative medicine group talked about how alternative treatments aren't always scientifically tested. Do we know what zinc and everything else does as well? Do we actually know chemical effects? Why is it effective? I guess it's got to be doing something. If it's effective, we know what it does and what ADHD medicine does to accomplish the same goal. I don't know if you guys know.
Usually it's just that the modification drugs that we're focusing on are a lot stronger than like the alternative medication. We didn't get into like the actual chemical effects in the brain of the like turmeric and whatever. But it's just that they're not as strong, like they don't have as strong as an effect.
So you're advocating for the alternative treatments as a in-between step before kind of diving into the deep end of actual. And
the modification drugs were originally for worst cases of things like these. And then they just became more and more common because people were like, oh, well, these really work. And so then more and more people can use them, and now it's a problem.
Turmeric its main thing is help with the inflammation, so it helps take down inflammation in the brain, that kind of thing, which can help with the ADHD.
With Adderall is probably prescribed, it can be all the way to as young as 3 years old. So you're having a 3-year-old being prescribed Adderall, and that 3-year-old can continue using Adderall up to his other groups of today, and using that Adderall by the time he gets to college. So it can start an addiction at the age of 3, 6, and then move up for the rest of their life.
So what about people who were previously diagnosed and are now like in their 20s and 30s and are still on the Adderall or some of the other drugs? Like, so do you have a plan to take them off of that and get them on the alternative ones?
Well, technically, as Caroline said earlier, since we're starting in the medical field first, that's where when you're having a one-on-one conversation with your doctor, and say you're 26, for example, and you've been on Adderall since you were 6 years old. You're not addicted to it, but all you use it for is for ADHD. The doctor can physically bring up the option of moving over to the zinc and fish oil and turmeric, but it's between the doctor and the patient, not us as an outside third party to the patient. So it's going to be between the doctor and the patient, and it's the patient who's taking knowledge over.
Also, if you're using the same drug for that long amount of time, from your 3 to 26, it's not going to have the same effect. And also, you change over time. Your ADHD is going to get better as you get older. in most cases. So you can switch to a lighter thing than being addicted and being stuck on